Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Raid's Christmas fusion for Yukimasa Demon of Ice started today, and Plarium published the full calendar for this fusion event. So in this video, I'm going to take a look at how to complete this event the most effective way, and also what is missing from this calendar. First, thank you Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video and for giving me this wonderful promo link if you want to start Raid. Down below in the description there in the QR code, a new account with Tagoar at the start, then Venomage at 15, Uugo at 30 and Deacon Armstrong himself at level 40. A wonderful start to Raid. And the Yukimasa fusion, December 15th until December 31st, and this is a traditional fusion. And traditional fusion means that you acquire, promote and ascend rares, then you fuse those rares into epics, then you promote and ascend those epics, and then you fuse those epics into Yukimasa. And all of this must be done during the fusion event period. You cannot hold back Yukimasa so that you would claim it later. You have to get it during the fusion event. There are 16 rares and 1 direct epic available, and that's enough to keep 1 epic if you get them all, or to skip 4 rares if you get the direct epic. If you don't get the direct epic, then you have to get every single event done in this one. And the only way to get the direct epic is to spend a lot of shots in the summon rush. This time the epic and the rare don't look like anything too special, so there's no particular incentive to pick those up. Note, if you're a newer player, then all the other events scale based on your account level, except for Summon Rush and Champion Chase, so the events that require shards. So typically that's going to be the wall for a new player. You can probably do a lot of other events because they're fairly easy when they're scaled down, but then you still need as many shards as more experienced players. And this time, this one being a traditional or classical fusion, you also need to level up and ascend a bunch of these champions. So rares need to be level 40 and fully ascended, and epics need to be level 50 and fully ascended. And that means that you're going to need 48 3-star food to upgrade all of those rares. And then you're going to need 16 4-star food to upgrade all of those epics. And you're also going to need a bunch of potions in order to ascend them. You're going to need 8 lesser arcane potions, 108 greater arcane potions, 12 superior arcane potions. The rare is a void rare, so you need 160 lesser void potions and 64 greater void potions. And the epic is a magic epic, so you need 80 greater magic potions and 24 superior magic potions. Void potions only available on Sundays. There's 2 Sundays during the event period, December 21st and 28th. And Magic Keep is open on Wednesdays and Saturdays. If you still need more potions, then there's a few opportunities to pick them up from Magic Keep. And then let's take a deeper look into the calendar itself. So today we have a Dragon Tournament that started. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. And we have the first Gear Enhancement event. Overall, there are going to be 3 gear enhancement events, as is typical for a fusion, and the silver cost depends on your account level, because lower level accounts, they get by with around 12-13 million per event, whereas higher level accounts, then suddenly you're looking at 20-21 million per event. So higher level account, you need around 60 million overall to get through all of this. But if you start the fusion period with maybe 20 million, then you can quite comfortably, quite easily get the remaining 40 million during the event period, because you get surprisingly much silver, to be honest. So you don't have to have nearly all of that already there. Then there's the Dragon Tournament that also started today, but you don't necessarily want to complete it immediately, because there's going to be a Gear Hunters event. And Gear Hunters event 1 is going to overlap this Dragon Tournament starting on Wednesday, and it's going to overlap the Ice Golem Tournament starting on Thursday. And there's also going to be some overlap with the CVC. Starting on Tuesday for Dragon, and then Wednesday also for the Gear Hunters. And a Gear Dungeon Tournament, if you're over level 50 and you're able to farm stage 20, then you're going to need 2,250 points, and you get that with a little bit over 2,000 energy. So a little bit over 2,000 energy for Dragon, a little bit over 2,000 energy for Ice Golem, and for the Dungeon Divers, Gear Hunters nowadays, then to get 3,700 points, which is likely going to be what you're going to need, then you're going to need almost 5,000 energy. So you get 80% of the way by completing 2 dungeon tournaments, and then that remaining 20% you still need to invest otherwise. So that's going to take a whole bunch of energy at the start. Also on Thursday, there's going to be a champion training tournament. You can obviously do that with XP brews, but if you spend energy on it, then you first want to do the ice column and get the gear hunters done, then work on the champion training because it ends later. And this can be a good opportunity to prepare food for the fusions. You need a bunch of those 3-star food, you need a bunch of 4-star food. This champion training tournament can be used to build up that food reserve so that you will have that one ready for later. The Summon Rush begins on Friday, and this is the big Summon Rush with the direct epic reward. And getting this direct epic reward is the only way that you can skip any of the events. You will need to complete every single event if you don't get this epic, because there's only exactly the right number of rares available. Summon Rush, typically it would cost 3,500 points in this kind of an event to get the first one, and then 6,100 points to get the second one. These can vary a little bit depending. So we're looking at possibly 7 sacred shards for the rare and 12 sacred shards for the epic. As usual, there are also 2 classic arena tournaments. They're pretty easy. You just need to log in enough time so that you get to refresh, because there are always going to be easy wins available, but you need to log in multiple times a day. It's just to refresh your arena and check for what fights you can win and take those wins and then complete this tournament. And this fusion event gets really hectic near the end, starting from Friday, December 26th and until that Monday, December 29th. That's going to be a really hectic period. There's another Gear Hunters there, Gear Hunters 2. It overlaps the Spider Tournament. It fully overlaps the Spider Tournament, but it doesn't overlap anything else. So you're going to have to spend a bunch of energy on that Gear Hunters. And then the early part of the Gear Hunters also still overlaps a big champion training. And this champion training, the way Plarium usually marks this, like that Summon Rush, for example, there's 2 Summon Rushes, but there's only 1 Summon Rush tournament. It's just one comes first and then the other reward comes later. So this champion training being marked like this typically means that it's 1 champion training event, but there's 2 rares as rewards, so you need to train quite a bit here. But this is also an opportunity to level up and upgrade the fusion pieces. And it also overlaps the champion chase tournament, so you want to complete the fusions when the champion chase is active, because you get points from the fusions also for the champion chase. Champion chase begins on Friday, December 26th, so this is when you want to complete the fusions. This is where you want to get any rewards that you haven't gotten yet, just so that you get more and more points for this champion chase tournament and that one rare that you get from it. So that's the fusion event calendar, but the interesting part is what is missing from this calendar, because this is just the fusion event calendar. Any events that are not part of the fusion are not included in this calendar, and there is a gaping hole here from Sunday, December 21st until Thursday, December 25th, and there's only 2 Gear Hunters events in this one, and typically there would be 3 Gear Hunters events in a fusion. So what happened to 1 Gear Hunters, that would be right there at Christmas. And it's very, very likely that there's going to be a special event for Christmas. Likely a Deck of Fate. It could be a Heroes Battle. Most probably it's going to be a Deck of Fate. And it's going to have a Gear Hunters component. So that's why there's usually no overlap in this. So there's going to be some kind of Gear Hunters style special event. It does overlap the Fire Knight, so you get a little bit of benefit there. And the other component, it cannot be anything that would overlap, or it usually at least isn't anything that would overlap the stuff that you can do with the fusion. So probably shards or soul stones. And these Christmas decks, typically they award you a legendary champion. So it's very likely that there's going to be a Deck of Fate here with a legendary champion reward, either shards or soul stones plus Gear Hunters. Of course, Deck of Fate is quite expensive to complete, much more expensive than a fusion is, but that's probably what's coming here. So what should you do? If you go for the fusion, you need to do almost everything. The only way to skip any of the events is to get the epic from the Summon Rush, and that allows you to skip some of the events. Otherwise, you have to do every single fusion event. If you don't go for the fusion, this time the rare and epic don't look like anything special. There's no Hilda Arnonsdottir here, that's for sure. So you don't really need to pay attention to those. You will pick up a rare or 2 almost inevitably, but they're just not very important. And then it's very likely that there's going to be that guaranteed champion event at Christmas. Is it going to be a champion that's better than Yukimasa? I mean, we had Belts last year, so if you don't remember who Belts is, well, that's because Belts is okay, but it's not that awesome. So the champion might not be better than Yukimasa, or it might be. We just don't know. And anyway, a deck is going to be a lot more expensive than a fusion. So if you can barely complete a fusion, then you want to do the fusion, you won't be able to do the deck anyway. And it's also possible that there will be no overlap. For example, if it's soul stones, then, well, if you have been saving your soul stones, maybe you have a chance at doing the deck while you're doing the fusion. You only need some energy maybe for gear hunters. If it's shards, well, if you spend shards on the summon rush, then will you have enough shards to also do the deck? That's kind of unlikely. But if you only barely are able to do the fusion anyway, then you wouldn't have a chance to do the deck anyway. So those are your options. Probably you want to just do the fusion if you want a guaranteed champion now, because the deck is also almost certainly going to be more expensive. Myself, I am going for this fusion. I like Yukimasa's kit a lot. Yukimasa seems super flexible, can be built as a control, can be built as a damage dealer. 3-turn cooldown freeze effect. I don't have a lot of freeze effects, and I really want some freeze effects, so that's one of the reasons why I want to go for that. You might also think of like DESERTQUEEN that can revive. That can be useful. So there's multiple reasons why you might want to go for Yukimasa. And yeah, I think overall it looks pretty good. And it's going to look a little bit rough right after Christmas, 26th to 29th. That's going to be some hectic days if you go for the fusion. So that might be one consideration for you as well. If you want to just take it easy during those days, then you probably want to skip the fusion, because yeah, just falling at the end when you just don't have time to play, then that's the thing. But anyway, that's Yukimasa fusion. Looks pretty good, looks quite clear everything, and I'm going for this, and I really look forward to seeing what's the Christmas event, what's the reward from that, and if that's worth pursuing. And I will also make a video about that once we have more details. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.